want truth.
She's in the video too.
I hope you don't mind if I just read these few words, otherwise I'll forget what I was going to say. I want to now welcome you all. Very happy you all came. You are my closest and dearest friends.
Crazy, but
And crazy. And for those of you who were not at shul yesterday, Eddie pointed out that this crowd is crazy. Should be taken as a compliment. And they took it as a compliment, and they were very happy. Yeah.
but he didn't say crazy. He said we shouldn't.
Meshuggah. The same thing, right? Same thing.
No, there's a nuance that's different.
Oh. Going to give you a little history of the 50 years that Eddie and I have spent together, Baruch Hashem. Ours is a shidduch which should never have happened if you go by the rules and regulations of the shidduch world. But we got married anyway, because as two people who had been dating for about 6 months before we got engaged, we felt we had a great deal in common. We were both Jewish. We both wanted to raise children in a religious home. We wanted to do everything with seichel and intelligence. We were able to communicate our thoughts, ideas, political preferences, even though we didn't always agree. Based on all of this, we presumed that we could have a wonderful marriage. So we did it. We got married in spite of the stumbling blocks. And let me tell you, we have worked very hard as a couple to accomplish what we have for the past 50 years. Who could have believed it? In an age of high divorce rates, an age where living together has become de rigueur, it was a full-time career being and staying married. It was not, and it is not, easy, as pretty much everyone in this room knows. Our age and the length of our marriage gives us the right to freely give advice to all and sundry.
And we all need it.
Plus, I'm paying for the party. So allow me to tell you what it takes to accomplish what we have accomplished. First of all, both members of the couple must have a complete and utter belief in and reliance on Hashem. Second, there must be an acknowledgement of the concept of hashgacha pratis, divine providence. Third, the most important word found in a marriage must be tolerance. Fourth, forgive and forget is the only way you can rise above a situation which you feel will make or break the marriage. All of these principles have been an integral part of our marriage as we have traveled the road together over the years. And travel the road we have. We married in Ottawa on Labor Day of 1962 and lived there for 1 year while Ed finished his postdoc and I completed my BA. Naturally, it was near my parents because I could not cook to save myself. Ask Ed about my first attempt at pasta. Shabbos, forget it. I would not touch an uncooked chicken. So we ate many meals with my parents and I learned nothing in the cooking department that whole time. But I did start to learn that being married was not as simple as it sounded. The next year, Ed got a real job, working for E.I. DuPont Company in Wilmington, Delaware. Off we went to live on the Mason-Dixon line. I never realized how far south I was till I heard Wilmingtonians talk about black people, an eye-opener. Baruch Hashem, our son Ari, was born there 2 months after our arrival. We lived in an upper duplex whose owner and downstairs occupants were the chazan of the Orthodox shul and his wife, Chazan and Mrs. Bay. That's how I learned how to cook a chicken in a pressure cooker, because that's what Mrs. Bay did. I also had to learn how to kosher meat since the butcher would not do it, till I begged and pleaded for a year. It almost felt like being at home in Ottawa. Mrs. Bay always had suggestions for how to deal with my newborn, because her children slept till they were a year old and then got up and walked, or so it seemed. Shortly thereafter, Gershon was born, and we were off to a roaring start as a family of 4. Right away we knew we could not stay in Wilmington, even though our boys were so young. Where would they go to school? On top of which, Orthodox Judaism was very schwach in the community. Many in the community expected us to stay and help start a day school, but we did not want to be the pioneers. In the blink of an found that the western part of Philadelphia was about an hour commute from Wilmington. So we bought a house in Whitfield and became a regular suburban family. The burden of this lifestyle was on Ed because he was the one who had to do the commuting. I was home with the kids, having a great time making friends with our young Israel community, the Philadelphia Yeshiva community, and the African American community living in Winfield. What a life. This lasted about 2 years until the reorganization of Ed's department at DuPont, and he was left having to look for another job. He found IBM in Binghamton, and I was petrified. Where was it? When he went on his interview trips, my only contribution was to make sure that whatever job appealed to him would be in a community which had 1, an Orthodox shul, 2, a mikvah, and 3, a day school for the children. When he came back from the IBM interview, he announced that Binghamton had all 3. Boy, the buckets. So off we went with fear and trepidation. One thing I will never forget was the farewell party in Philly and the speech by Rabbi Schuster, a kind elderly Rav of the community whose words of peace included telling us that we would bring Frumkeit to Binghamton, wherever that was. He was right. In the few years after our arrival, over 20 Frum families came into the community from various parts of the United States. They came to work for IBM, General Electric, Link Aviation Systems, and SUNY Binghamton. Those years, from 1968 to 1982, were fantastic. Our daughter Hadara was born there, we bought a house, and all of us who were a part of Beth David Synagogue worked to build a life in a Jewish community to the point where people actually heard of Binghamton and knew where it was. You could always find a minyan if you were on your way to one of the camps in the Catskills. You could find a home for a kosher meal, for a Shabbos, and on and on. NCSY worked with all of the kids in the community and produced a generation of Frum teens who have, to this day, remained religious wherever they happen to live. We know, because we know them all, and our children are still in touch with most of them. What a bracha. In 1982, change came again. Life at IBM was not so great for Ed, and one day he said to me, if I don't get out now, I will have a heart attack or a stroke. Baruch Hashem were good friends at the Ecole Polytechnique. They told Ed about a temporary opening at the school. Was he interested? Yesh Brera. At his advancing age, Ed had no choice, nor did I. So off we went again. This time it was to Montreal. Hashem works in mysterious ways. The temporary job has lasted until today. The Admei of the Esrim. We made a fantastic life for ourselves here because it became part of a community, part of a shul, and part of all of your lives. What more does one need? None of this would have happened without the direction and hand of the Ribbono Shel Olam, who helped us pick ourselves up when we were down, and who helped us to believe that whatever happens, happens for the best. It only gets better even when it looks horrible. Without our love for each other, without our respect for each other, without tolerance, without our belief that Hashem has a reason for all we are going through, we could never have done what we have done. Remain Frum when it was difficult, grow in our Frumkeit, be blessed with Frum children and grandchildren, and receive the biggest blessing of all, a great grandchild, to be enjoyed while we are still young and viable. I cannot begin to express my gratitude to Kadosh Baruch Hu, Shehachiyanu v'Kiyimanu v'Hidiyanu Lazman Hazeh. Thank you to you, all of our good friends, for opening your hearts and homes to us, for having made us feel welcome and a part of a wonderful Jewish community. And thank you for coming here today to show your